Kit Kats can read. Hey guys, it's Katie. Welcome to another video, and today I'm bringing you guys my July wrap up. So July, it was a successful month compared to others. I did a lot of reading and I feel really good about it, but reading in the times I wanted to read, because I didn't just read in July, I did other stuff as well. So I feel really proud of myself because I read a total of, guys, wait for it, 10 books. Now my target for each month is to read 5. Yeah, okay, some of these books are quite short, but they still count as reading because, hey, you know, people read graphic novels as well. It's still reading content. It doesn't really matter. So without further ado, guys, let's get started with the books that I read. The first big and malusive book that I read and completed was The Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them Illustrated Edition by Scamander, aka J.K. Rowling, who wrote this, and the illustrations in this book are amazing. They are so good. There's like an illustration for each beast, which is like really great. Really enjoyed this. I read this in a day. I find it really enjoyable. Definitely a book to go on my Harry Potter bookshelf that is behind you guys right now. So of course I loved it, and I gave it 5 out of 5 Kit Kats. The next book that I read and completed, it's a small and short book, but it completed my challenge of reading a childhood favourite, and that is Kittens in the Kitchen by Lucy Daniels, the first book. This is in the Animal Arc series. In this book we have these kittens that are born in the caretaker's house, and Mandy and James are given a week by the caretaker, otherwise the caretaker will chuck them out, to find the kittens' homes. So it's a really sweet nostalgic tale. I couldn't really remember much from it, considering I probably last read this book when I was like 9 or 10 and I'm now 28. But yeah, I still really enjoyed it. It made me feel really happy, and of course I had to give it 5 out of 5 Kit Kats. The second book in the Animal Arc series was my third read of the month, and that is Pony in the Porch by Lucy Daniels. In this story we have Prince the pony, and they are sold off to this rich family that just moved down, and the daughter, she's very snobby, she's very selfish, and she cares more about winning than the pony's actual health. So it's up to Mandy to sort of sort that situation out. So I got really sort of annoyed at the situation, but in the end it had a really nice ending, and I really enjoyed it again, and I kind of can remember some things that happened in this book as well. But yeah, I had to give it 5 out of 5 Kit Kats. Next of all, I read the third book that's in the Animal Arc series, which is Puppies in the Pantry by Lucy Daniels, and in this story Mandy's looking after her aunt's dog, and then also she happens to help this TV set full of animals as well. One of the dogs ends up going missing, so she's got to help with that. It's really a sort of like fun tale, and I really enjoyed it, especially the cute little surprise at the end. I could kind of remember this storyline as well. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. So many nostalgic feels, and of course I had to give this book 5 out of 5 Kit Kats. And then I read the fourth book in the Animal Arc series, which is Goat in the Garden by Lucy Daniels, and in this book it's about Houdini, the mischievous goat, and Mandy has to help this goat because there is this farmer guy, and I think it's Sam Weston is his name, and he's just like, I'm gonna murder that goat, and she's like, no! So she helps the owner build a really good fence, and yeah, it's really funny and cheeky sort of novel. I really enjoyed it, so of course I gave it 5 out of 5 Kit Kats as well. And the last Animal Arc book that I read in the month of July was Hedgehogs in the Hall by Lucy Daniels. This one is book number 5 that's in the series, and this one is totally centred on just the main story of these hedgehogs, and they're basically found, and they sort of make this little hedgehog haven where they can just sort of like stay, and then they can just sort of go on into the wild, and it's really cute. I learned quite a lot about hedgehogs from this book actually that I didn't know before, so I thought that was really good that I'm learning intellectual stuff from this childhood veterinary styled book. So yeah, totally recommend it, especially for kids. I mean, just for nostalgic feels, just to read it again. Yeah, I could kind of remember the story, but not. It was so long ago that I read this book, but it was so nice to read it again, and I really, really enjoyed it. It had such a really satisfying, happy little ending, and it was just perfect. And of course, I gave this book 5 out of 5 Kit Kats. All of these Animal Art books I read whilst the Wimbledon was going on, so it was perfect. I was watching the Wimbledon at the same time as reading, so I was finishing books alongside reading Wimbledon. So the 7th book that I completed in July, it was Illuminate by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. So this will be a reread for me because I would like to continue on with Gemna, which I do have as a sequel. And I've just got it on audiobook as well, because I listened to Illuminate the second time on audiobook because I was recommended to listen to the audiobook. And I still found at times I was a little bit confused. And in honesty, like the first time I read it, I gave it a very high rating. I think I gave it 4.5 stars. However, reading it the second time, I just found like I was still getting confused, and I'm not sure if that's because so much is happening at once and there's all these documents sort of things, so I'm trying to keep up to scratch. However, I found that about 75% through the book, or the audiobook, I actually found that I was really, really enjoying this book. In the end, this time around, I gave it 4 stars, which is still a good rating for me. I found it interesting, I found it good. I was just a little bit confused at times, but I'm hoping that when I read the second book, along with the documents, I'll be used to how it's structured and that I will enjoy it more. But I remember being confused the first time, and then I completely forgot everything that went on, which is why I reread it, and this time listened to it around with the audiobook, but I'm just like, I'm still confused with what is going on because so much is going on, like so much, it's so fast paced that I just can't keep up. Book number 8 that I read in July was Listen to Your Heart by Casey West. Now I read this book during the biannual bibliothon. It's Casey West's latest book release, and it just reminded me how much I love Casey West's writing and her books and everything. I've given all of her books 5 out of 5 Kit Kats, including her little sci-fi dystopian sort of series. And my goodness guys, this book is just like the perfect summer contemporary. So this is basically about Kate, who she likes living on the lakeside, and her parents own this little lakeside marina sort of thing, and there are these other parents of this guy that are trying to purchase it off of them. And so Kate ends up going to college, I believe, and she does this course that is on sort of like radio, so it's kind of like media, and so they do this podcast, so they have to think of ideas. And so Kate has this idea where they have to do this advice podcast, so it ends up winning, and so Kate then becomes one of the hosts, and she's like, oh crap, I didn't really intend for that to happen, but she kind of has to do it anyway. So she just swings along with it, and then one day they get this call that comes in, and he's like, oh, I've got this issue, I don't know what to do about it. And they feel like it's this guy character called Diego, and Kate's best friend likes Diego, so they're thinking that, hey, Diego's talking about my best friend, let's make him realise that she likes him too. And so it goes on from there. So really this book is a really great story about friendship. That's definitely a big major in this, like the friendship is so powerful in this one, you can really see it. And also you get like a little bit of romance as well, and there is a bit of on family in there too. And really it's about confidence, having confidence in yourself and things like that. And yeah, it was just, I found it like really, really satisfying, and I really, really enjoyed it, and I ended up giving this book 5 out of 5 Kit Kats. The next book that I read and completed in July was The Wicked Deed by Shea Anshaw. I read this as an ebook, and I read it during the biannual bibliothon. It was the group read, and this is a sort of witchy slash ghosty story that is about these 3 sisters, and they are one day believed to be witches, so they are drowned in the sea, and once every year they sort of come out of the sea and they take over the bodies of these females, nobody knows who, but they start drowning men for like this short period of time, and then they go back to the sea again until the next year. So they sort of do this as a little traditional thing, and then this time we have this main girl character, and it's quite like a tourist sort of event because it's like well known in this town, and basically she just sort of like sees this new guy that's looking for this job, so she hires him, and he's intrigued about this little story, and so she's like, oh, the first two sisters have taken over bodies, I know who they are, sort of thing, and then the first drowning happens. So it's kind of like really sort of spooky tale, and I can't really go too much into it without sort of like spoiling it because there's a lot of twists and turns that are in this book. But if it wasn't for the biennial bibliothon, it wouldn't have been a book that I would have picked up as soon as it would be now. I like the premise of the story, but yeah, I actually really enjoyed this book, and I was forever being thrown all over the place. Didn't know what to expect. I had my sort of assumptions, but they weren't like all correct. So I really enjoyed being hooked into the story, and there were moments in the end where actually I got a little bit choked up. And for me to actually emotionally get involved is quite a good thing as well. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. So in the end I gave it 5 out of 5 Kit Kats. I couldn't really floor it. I know it has received mixed sort of reviews, where some people have loved it, some people have found it okay, some people didn't like it so much, some people found it a little bit predictable, but I always tend to find that I like the books that get mixed views. So there you have it. I enjoyed it. And the last book that I read in July, I thoroughly enjoyed. I'm so glad that it was the last book that I read in July because it was so hilarious. And this is Secrets of a Teenager, Heiress by Katie Birchall. Now this is about this girl called Flick, and she lives at this hotel called Hotel Royale that's in London. A lot of famous people stay there, and she's just so used to it now. And then one day this big famous pop star, Skylar Chase, she ends up staying there, and she unexpectedly meets up with her not long after Flick gets grounded for 2 weeks because of this special prince guest who she is claiming stole her selfie stick when her mum actually gave it. So she was just like, I'm gonna take it back because I need it to take pictures of my pet dog for their Instagram page, and it just seems so far-fetched and so silly that you just can't help but laugh at it. So she ends up hanging out with this Skylar Chase person, but she doesn't want to tell everybody about it. It's kind of like her secret that she wants to keep. She doesn't want to brag about it. And then throughout this book she's learning more about the hotel, about what happens in the hotel, and she sort of changes as a person, but it's so funny along the way, like the things that Flick does, the things that Flick says, and there are text messages that are throughout the book, guys, that are so funny. They're like this, these little speech bubbles. They are hilarious, so funny. Yeah, I totally recommend this book. I love how it ended. I know there's going to be a sequel to this coming out in a couple of months' time, which I can't wait to get my hands on. This is so funny. It's the first book that I've read by Katie Birchall before, and I can't wait to read her other series, which is like the It Girl series, and there's like a trilogy of it. But my goodness, guys, this book was so funny, so hilarious. If you really like the Georgia Nicholson series by Louise Renison, or the Geek Girl series by Holly Smell, those sort of fun and hilarious books, then you definitely need to read this and get this on your radar. It's so good and so funny. I was giggling to myself, so it's really good that I didn't actually read this in public, or I would have, you know, had some public embarrassment. But it's so good, guys. So of course I had to give it 5 out of 5 Kit Kats. I just flew through it so easily as well. I couldn't put it down. I loved it so much. So there you have it, guys. Those are the 10 books that I read in the month of July. If you have read any of these books, then do let me know down below in the comments what you thought about them, and also let me know how you did in the month of July as well, how many books you read, and so on and so forth. And I hope you guys are going to have an absolutely fantastic day wherever you are. If you are new to my channel and you would like to see more of my videos, then please feel free to subscribe. It would honestly make my day, as I love seeing you guys. I love seeing you guys comment, and I love conversing with you guys about books and stuff. But that's it from me. Give it a thumbs up if you have enjoyed this video. Keep smiling, keep reading, and be happy, and I'll see all of you wonderful awesome people in my next video. Bye!